Hello friends, welcome to Notebook Videos. In this video, we shall discuss topics on trade. That is an important aspect of every nation's economy. Trade contributes to national income earnings. We have seen that in our earlier videos. An open economy is one that allows for trade. If there is anything in surplus, we say that it is in excess, whereas deficits are also shortages. So let's say Philip earns rupees 2 lakhs a year from his textile business and spends rupees 2.5 lakhs on all domestic goods that he needs to produce. There would be a shortage of rupees 50,000 in his accounts that would cause a deficit. Now, what if this was a country? What if a country was spending more and earning less from trade? It would have the same consequence and would create a trade deficit. In a reverse case of positive earnings from trade, we call it a trade surplus. So a trade surplus is created when exports are higher than imports, and similarly, a trade deficit when imports are higher than exports. In case of a household or an individual, a deficit may not be a comfortable thing to pull for a very long period of time. But many countries have lingering trade deficits, and it may not necessarily be a bad thing for the economy. The balance of exports and imports is called the trade balance, or the BOT. Let's look at the US trade deficit situation with China. As you see, US imports from China stand at 453 billion, while exports are less than 1/4 of imports and are about 107 billion in 2019. China exports computers, cell phones, and apparel and footwear to the United States in exchange for commercial aircraft, soybeans, and semiconductors. Trade deficits have been an ongoing situation for US. The country has been having rising trade deficits since many years, shown by those red columns, and their growing lengths compared to the blue ones. Thus, trade deficits could indicate high consumer demand in a country's economy and not be a worrying fiscal situation. It's important to know what the countries are trading in though. For example, if a country trades more in raw materials where margins are low, it's obvious that its export earnings would be less. In return, if it is importing capital-intensive goods, then trade deficit becomes implicit as it is earning less and paying more. The total volume of trade inclusive of exports and imports in proportion to GDP is called degree of openness of an economy. A country with an open economy interacts with the rest of the world with buying and selling of goods and services in the product market and assets in the financial markets. This particular equation takes into account the buying and selling of goods in the product market as a basic estimate of reference. It ignores the financial market. Well, in balance of payments, that is determined by exports and imports, we may have some items that are counted to maintain equilibrium in BOP. These are called below-the-line items. There are few others that are included with the motive of profit maximization and not to maintain BOP equilibrium, and these are referred to as above-the-line items or autonomous items. Say, for example, a foreign firm invests in India to make profits. Obviously, these investments have not been made in view of maintaining balance of payments or BOP equilibrium and are therefore counted as autonomous items. So below the line items essentially cover for deficits that may be caused due to above the line items. These are accommodating transactions. Assume for a moment that autonomous items are in surplus in an economy. It indicates autonomous receipts are higher than autonomous payments. This means that BOP is in surplus in the economy. Let's clarify the difference between BOP and BOT as we discuss balance of trade issues. Balance of trade accounts for transactions in goods and services only. When exports are higher than imports, we say that BOT is favorable. It accounts for current account transactions only. But balance of payments would account for all transactions on goods, services, and capital transfers in the economy. This means that BOT is essentially a part of BOP. If net balance of both capital and current account are positive, we can say that BOP is favorable and not just BOT. So, BOP is a bigger number and is all inclusive. BOT is not a simple concept, my friends. Remember, trade happens between two countries and it is likely that they have two different currencies. The currencies have different values in the world market, just like products. One country's currency may be better valued than another, depending upon the country's geopolitical and economic stability in terms of reserves and resources. Differences in currency values are captured by exchange rates. Thus, countries similar in strength depict similar currency strengths, just as euro and the pound. Both these currencies have almost equal values in the world market. Exchange rates are of two kinds, only to look at two different aspects of the exchange. The first is the nominal exchange rate. Nominal exchange rate is defined as the price of one country's currency in terms of another. Normally, it is expressed as number of units of currency required to purchase $1. So let's say India needs to give 70 rupees to buy $1. Then rupees to dollar exchange rate is called the nominal exchange rate between the two currencies. Conventionally, therefore, the dollar is used as a standard for exchanges. The electronic dashboard in this image shows all prices at which currencies can be exchanged for $1. Real exchange rate is slightly different. It is the value of one country's products in terms of another. So let's say there are two products, the American Budweiser and the Indian cotton. We will need to find out how many rolls of cotton threads are required to buy 1 crate of Budweiser beer. For this, we need 3 pieces of information. How many American dollars is required to buy the crate of beer? That is the American price of the product. Second, we need to look at the nominal exchange rate of rupees and dollars. Thirdly, how many rolls of thread need to be sold to obtain 1 rupee. Let's put in some numbers here. Let's assume the crate of beer costs $7. The nominal exchange rate between rupees and dollar is 70, and 1 roll of cotton thread needs to be sold to earn 1 rupee. This means we need 490 rupees to buy the crate of beer. This is by measuring 70 times 7, which equals to 490, which is the value of Indian rupees. That will earn us $7. For each rupee to be earned, we need to sell one roll of cotton thread, and hence we sell 490 rolls to earn 490 rupees. That buys the crate of beer. This is the real exchange rate between the cotton thread and the crate of beer. So here we are just comparing figures based on real production and sale of items. But gross numbers can never be directly used. So we calculate real exchange rate as price of foreign goods relative to the price of domestic goods. When could the real exchange rate drop? Let's see. By this equation, the real exchange rate could drop if price level in the foreign country falls, or nominal exchange rate falls, or there is the rise in domestic price levels. It is clear, therefore, that all these components may jointly affect the value of the real exchange rate. It may also happen, my friends, that the real exchange rate is equal to 1. This is called purchasing power parity. Say we have good X in country A and B. If we take a direct ratio of the prices multiplied by the exchange rates, we get the purchasing power parity value. When real GDP is equal to 1, price of local currency is equal to nominal exchange rate times price of foreign currency. Say hamburgers cost $1 in the United States and 70 rupees in India. Given that nominal exchange rate is also 70, we plug the value of United States and Indian currency values. With the nominal exchange rate value given as 70, we get the value of real exchange rate, which equals to 1. Thus, prices here are at purchasing power parity. Let's change the values a bit. If prices of United States hamburgers would be $3 instead of $1 and Indian hamburgers remain priced at 70, the real exchange rate value would change to 3 and prices would no longer be at purchasing power parity. Isn't it fun, my friends, to see how the purchasing power parity changes with the prices of goods and services? I hope you've enjoyed the session on exchange rates. We look forward to your continued attention in our next videos. Thanks and goodbye.
Audio Jungle.